Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
The story of Moses is one of the most profound narratives in the history of human civilization, blending religion, history, and culture into a tale that has resonated through millennia. At the heart of his story lies a deep connection to ancient Egypt, a civilization that has intrigued historians, archaeologists, and theologians for centuries. Understanding Moses and his relationship with ancient Egypt requires a multifaceted exploration of historical records, biblical accounts, and archaeological findings. Moses, as depicted in the Hebrew Bible, is one of the most significant figures in Abrahamic religions. He is described as the liberator of the Israelites, the receiver of divine commandments, and a prophet who played a pivotal role in shaping the religious and moral frameworks of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Central to Moses' life and mission is the backdrop of ancient Egypt, where he was born, raised, and ultimately confronted the might of Pharaoh to free his people. The historical context of ancient Egypt during the time traditionally associated with Moses provides a compelling framework for understanding his story. Ancient Egypt, one of the world's earliest and most enduring civilizations, thrived along the fertile banks of the Nile River. Its rich history spanned thousands of years, marked by periods of prosperity, cultural achievement, and political stability, as well as times of invasion, upheaval, and decline. The time period commonly associated with the story of Moses is the New Kingdom era, particularly the 18th or 19th dynasty, though scholars debate the precise dating. According to the biblical narrative, Moses was born during a time when the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt. This enslavement is said to have been the result of a pharaoh's fear of the growing Israelite population and their potential to become a threat to Egyptian dominance. The Bible recounts how the pharaoh ordered the death of all male Hebrew infants to curb their numbers. Moses' mother, in an act of desperate faith, placed her infant son in a basket and set it afloat on the Nile River. This act of defiance and hope is one of the most iconic moments in the Exodus story. The Nile, a lifeline of ancient Egypt, plays a symbolic and practical role in the story of Moses. The river was central to Egyptian life, providing water for agriculture, a means of transportation, and a source of sustenance. In the biblical account, the Nile becomes a site of both salvation and divine judgment. Moses' journey begins on the river when he is rescued by Pharaoh's daughter, an event that intertwines his life with the Egyptian royal family. Later, during the plagues, the Nile is transformed into blood, symbolizing the power of the God of Israel over the gods of Egypt. The adoption of Moses into the Egyptian royal household is a significant aspect of his connection to ancient Egypt. Pharaoh's daughter, moved by compassion, raises Moses as her own, granting him access to the privileges and education of Egyptian royalty. This unique upbringing places Moses at the crossroads of two worlds: the enslaved Israelites, his people by birth, and the ruling Egyptians, his family by circumstance. The dual identity of Moses is a recurring theme in his story, shaping his character and his mission. Egypt's royal courts during the New Kingdom were centers of power, wealth, and culture. Moses' education and experiences in this environment would have been unparalleled. He would have been trained in the arts of governance, military strategy, and the religious practices of the Egyptian state. This upbringing likely provided Moses with the skills and knowledge he later employed in leading the Israelites out of bondage and organizing them into a cohesive community. The turning point in Moses' life comes when he witnesses an Egyptian taskmaster beating a Hebrew slave. Overcome by a sense of justice and solidarity with his people, Moses kills the taskmaster and flees Egypt to avoid Pharaoh's wrath. This act of violence and subsequent flight marks the beginning of Moses' transformation from a prince of Egypt to a prophet and leader of the Israelites. His time in exile, spent in the land of Midian, is a period of personal growth and divine revelation. Moses' encounter with the divine at the burning bush is one of the most profound moments in his narrative. The location of this event, traditionally identified as Mount Sinai or Mount Horeb, is outside the borders of Egypt, yet it signifies the continuation of Moses' connection to the region. At the burning bush, Moses receives his divine commission to return to Egypt and demand the liberation of the Israelites. This mission sets the stage for the dramatic confrontation between Moses and Pharaoh, a central theme in the Exodus story. The plagues of Egypt, as described in the Bible, are a powerful demonstration of Moses' connection to Egypt and his role as an agent of divine intervention. Each plague targets a specific aspect of Egyptian life and religion, challenging the authority of Pharaoh and the gods of Egypt. From the Nile turning to blood to the death of the firstborn, the plagues are symbolic acts that underscore the power of the God of Israel and the impotence of the Egyptian pantheon. The plagues culminate in the Exodus, when Moses leads the Israelites out of Egypt and across the Red Sea. The crossing of the Red Sea is one of the most dramatic moments in the story of Moses. According to the biblical account, Moses parts the sea, allowing the Israelites to escape Pharaoh's pursuing army. This event, while miraculous in its description, also reflects the geographical and cultural connections between Moses and Egypt. The Red Sea, a vital waterway in the region, represents both a physical and symbolic boundary between slavery and freedom. Moses' connection to ancient Egypt does not end with the Exodus. The legacy of his time in Egypt is evident in the laws, rituals, and cultural practices he introduces to the Israelites. The construction of the tabernacle, for example, reflects influences from Egyptian architecture and religious practices. The Ark of the Covenant, with its cherubim and gold overlay, bears similarities to Egyptian sacred artifacts. These elements highlight the interplay between Moses' Egyptian upbringing and his role as a mediator of divine revelation. The historical and archaeological evidence from Moses and the Exodus is a subject of ongoing debate among scholars. While some argue that the lack of direct evidence challenges the historicity of the biblical account, others suggest that the story reflects a collective memory of events that were later shaped into a cohesive narrative. The identification of specific pharaohs associated with Moses, such as Ramesses or Amenhotep, remains speculative, as does the dating of the Exodus. Nevertheless, the story of Moses continues to inspire and captivate people across cultures and religions. In exploring Moses and his connection to ancient Egypt, it is essential to consider the broader historical and cultural context. Ancient Egypt was a complex and dynamic society with a rich religious and artistic heritage. The interaction between the Israelites and the Egyptians, as depicted in the story of Moses, reflects the interconnectedness of ancient Near Eastern civilizations. The influence of Egyptian culture on the Israelites, and vice versa, underscores the fluidity of cultural and religious boundaries in the ancient world. Moses' legacy is inseparable from his connection to ancient Egypt. His story, as told in the Bible, is a testament to the enduring power of faith, resilience, and leadership. The lessons of Moses' life and mission continue to resonate, offering insights into the human condition and the quest for freedom and justice. The interplay between Moses and ancient Egypt is a reminder of the complexities of history and the profound impact of individual lives on the course of civilization.